You're listening to the Eternal Gold Beauty Show. Are you ready to break the agreement of aging and activate your eternal beauty? We invite you to join us as we step into the power of aging in reverse with the most advanced skincare line in the world. Awaken your skin to age in reverse at eternalgoldbeauty.com. Blessings, soul family. This is Stephanie, and you're listening to the Eternal Gold Beauty Show. And today I have Jennifer with me, and we are talking about Snow White. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all? Today, most significantly, we're going to be talking about our reflection and our expectations and our self-talk. So what do we say to ourselves when we look at ourselves in the mirror, and what are we expecting to hear back? That's where we're going with this conversation today. Jen and I were talking earlier about it, and we were super excited about where that conversation was going and where it can lead. So let's get into it. Jen, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Stephanie. Yeah, we get in this habit of saying the same things to ourselves over and over. And a lot of that is based on our programming. But we'll get up every day and look in the mirror and start talking to ourselves about what we notice and how we feel, and maybe that we see the same thing and that something hasn't changed. And it may be, vocabulary that we're saying that is not the most positive, like I got the bags under my eyes, or the wrinkles around my mouth, or gray hair or something, And when we're speaking to ourselves that way, our body listens, our cells hold that intelligence. And so it's going to keep recreating what it is that we're communicating to ourselves. And that reflection, that space that we are spending time with ourselves and really spending time with our divine within, it's such a wonderful opportunity to shift how we speak and how we are communicating to ourselves. So our divine within and our beauty within is intrinsic to us. Our worth is intrinsic to us. And when we start shifting our vocabulary and using words such as, look at the glow of my skin today. Look at how vibrant and beautiful my lips are. Look at the whites of my eyes, and look at how gorgeous my eyes are when they're wide open, just how we communicate to ourselves. Even love, noticing the love within our hearts and spending a moment in that reflection starts changing the expression of who we are and how we see ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that we can do that for ourselves is everything. But it really starts changing our reality.
It really does. It's so important to really become aware of, how we're talking to ourselves when we look at ourselves in the mirror, and not just when we're looking in the mirror. How are we going through the day, and how are we going about the day, talking to ourselves? Are we being our own inner cheerleader, or are we being our own inner critic? And how you answer that question is really going to determine how you're experiencing your reality, truly. So even if you're looking in the mirror and you're not ready to say, because this takes work. If you've been spending many, many years criticizing yourself, it can take a lot of work, and it can feel super uncomfortable, just going from, complaining about your skin every morning to looking at yourself the next day and saying you're beautiful and youthful and you're glowing. So even just starting out by telling yourself you're going to glow. I'm going to glow. My lips are going to be juicy today, or I'm going to shine, just starting out with that kind of self-talk can really be an important step to starting to design that outer reflection that we're hoping or wanting to experience, because ultimately that is what we are here for, is to experience that type of divine expression showing up in our reality, that kind of abundance, that kind of joy. That's what we're designed to experience. So it's all about kind of peeling off those layers and uncovering that true inner beauty that is always there. So I'm going to jump into a quick break, Jen, and then we'll get back into it. And if you're interested in learning about Eternal Gold Beauty, feel free to visit www.eternalgoldbeauty.com, and we'll be right back.
Hello, this is Jules Arness, the founder and creator of Eternal Gold Beauty. I want to personally invite you to experience skincare of the future right now. Adding conscious living skincare to your daily life awakens the skin to age in reverse. There is no other product out there that is breaking the laws of physics and allowing you to take back your choice in how you will age. Experience the difference with Eternal Gold Beauty. Start aging in reverse with the most advanced skincare line in the world. Visit eternalgoldbeauty.com to learn more.
And we're back. This is Stephanie. You're listening to the Eternal Gold Beauty Show. And today, Jen and I are talking about the reflection we see in the mirror. And we actually had an interesting conversation earlier about Snow White, about that famous story that many of us grew up with as children. And we found a lot of references to this story about divinity and finding that divinity within. And a lot about how our words matter. We spoke a lot about how, our words do have the ability to cast spells. I guess you can put it that way. Spelling our reality, really. So did you want to kind of elaborate on that, Jen?
I was thinking as you're talking about that, like, Snow White spent so much time in the forest, in the woods with all the animals, and the animals would come to her, and she was expressing her love and expressing her beauty. And it was her connection with her divine, like the way I see it, that was a place that she was most comfortable. So that's where she would spend her time. And like when the animals would come and spend time with her, they were attracted to that energy of who she was. And she was not really influenced by outer sources. She was just okay with who she was, and was able to share the love that she had within with other beings and creatures. And so the spell of love for her was the expression of who she was in her world and for those around her, and everyone that was around her was benefiting from that love that just radiated from her.
Yes, and it made her super magnetic. Ultimately, she attracted or drew the prince, or her Prince Charming to her. Her love. She drew love into her life. So Snow White truly, if we look at that story, it's a really great example of how being in your divine expression and really being connected is first of all, our natural state, but second of all, it's how we get to experience, an abundant reality likely beyond what we could even imagine just by being connected. She was so connected with nature. And I think nature is a huge piece, because I find often, if I'm experiencing some overwhelm or anxiety, or if I feel disconnected, just getting out into nature can really shift that. It can really shift my vibration. And then that kind of starts a whirlwind of like kind of like climbing the ladder of frequency, right? So as long as I'm out in nature, I can connect to a higher and higher and higher frequency. And then that's when I can really be more clear. And I think that's how Snow White lived. She was super comfortable.
And even as you're talking about that, I think about, she lived in full expression of who she was. And so she would encounter, say, like one of the seven dwarves, like Sneezy or something, right? Or Sleepy. And she didn't start reflecting who they were and become Sneezy or Sleepy, right? She was able to stay an expression of who she was, which was beauty and creation and love.
Mm-hmm. And then Sneezy and Sleepy and Grumpy could continue being who they were.
Exactly.
Yes. And
yes.
Yeah.
And so, what it's fun that we're talking about it this way, because I've never thought about that story in this way before, but what a wonderful role model, for us to be able to think about how we can show up and continue to stay in expression of who we want to be in the world and who we are, like our divine soul essence. And so starting with that reflection in the mirror in the morning, even connecting with our divine within and asking the divine to show us what is the highest frequency and expression of who I am in this now moment.
Yeah.
Letting that radiate through us.
And I just, attuning to our
frequency, and then expressing that and stepping forward into the world, into our reality, and creating our day from that frequency.
Yes. And I just something just came to me too about that. The queen who was always looking in the mirror, asking the mirror who the fairest one in the world was, and expecting to get a specific response. Like the queen had expectations. And then one day when she didn't receive the response that she was looking for, she became jealous. And so looking at the queen from this perspective, now that we've kind of opened up this story and we're peeling it apart and we're looking at it from different angles. As a child, I looked at the queen like this mean, evil witch, and she was just horrible. But really, is that how we're being to ourselves every day? Is that how you're expressing yourself? Are you talking to yourself in that way? Are you being that mean to yourself every day? So if we can kind of look at it from that angle, maybe that witch wasn't so mean or evil. She was just not standing in her divine power, and she wasn't connected.
Exactly. Not connecting to the love and the divine that truly existed within her, but a choice, repetitively choosing a different frequency.
Right.
That existed within her.
Right. And we were talking earlier too about, how that beauty, the beauty that is truly running through our veins, that beauty that's always within us, that's never left us, that's always there. There's this really pure, innocent peace within that beauty. And so it kind of brings us back to, you know, that childlike cheerleader that we all have within us. You know, if you think back to when you were a kid, you cheered yourself on probably a heck of a lot more than you do now. And so if you want to share that story, Jen, that would be fantastic, because I think the story you told me earlier is such a good example and analogy of what we're talking about right now.
My niece was like 4 years old, and she just had her bath and was having fun and playing, and she was up on the back of the bed, and she had this purple My Little Pony, and she was holding the My Little Pony in the mirror and was talking to it and showing itself the reflection in the mirror. And she was saying to the My Little Pony, she was saying, look at yourself, you're a big white stallion.
I love that.
And this has been, 20 years ago, and I've never forgotten seeing her, cheering this little My Little Pony on, like that it could be a big white stallion, and that was her imagination. And it's actually like totally making my cells light up just thinking about that, like how we speak to ourselves, who we want to be, how we want to be. And even the vocabulary we use, if we wake up and look in the mirror and we're like, oh my gosh, I am so tired. That's information that you are feeding your body.
Yeah.
If you wake up and look in the mirror and say, I am a vibrant, youthful, healthy human being, and I have all the energy I need, that tells your body a different story.
And then your body will respond. And like you said, just a couple of seconds ago, you said that story was making your cells light up. And, it really does. If we take a minute to just notice how our body is responding when we speak to ourselves, you can feel it inside. Like you can feel your cells respond. And that's not willy-nilly. It's actually science. Like there's science that can back this statement. Our cells respond to our words and our thoughts, which ultimately result in our actions. So
I think people have quite an awareness of specific emotions. If there's something that they're afraid of in their life, well, this one's probably not fun, but maybe spiders.
Ugh, I don't like spiders.
People become very aware immediately, like what their body does when they think of a spider, right? But when they think of the word joy, it maybe is not such a nuanced expression in their body, but it can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or even vitality, or peace, or love, or enlightenment. See, my body is like all happy because I'm talking about these words now, because I've been playing with them for a while, right? So it just is a spiritual practice, really, to learn to communicate with your body about the frequency of specific words, or as you were speaking about, spells or spelling, right? But it's not really spells. It's just a frequency. Right. And it's really, if we think of the childlike wonder that you're talking about, playing with the words and connecting with your divine and asking to be shown the frequency, show me what peace feels like in my body.
Yeah.
And letting that just infiltrate. That's the only word I can think of, infiltrate every cell in your body, so you can feel that frequency.
And I just thought of a good way that we could actually really anchor this into our practice. If this is, if playing with these words is new to any of our listeners, and you really want to begin embodying a higher frequency, and speaking more kindly to yourself and seeing that reflecting back at you, a really good way to connect with those words could be to find something in the world or around you that word means to you. So for example, say the sky means joy, or you can just decide that the sky means joy. Practice sitting and looking at the sky and then feeling joy within your body. And after doing that for a while, it's called an anchor. After doing that for a while, every time you look at the sky, your body is going to respond with that frequency, that feeling of joy. So this could be a really good way to kind of play with words and play with embodying the frequency of those higher frequency words that you would tell yourself.
Well, and also like the Eternal Gold Beauty skincare products all hold a very high frequency. They have a lot of intelligence within those. And if you're using the products, when you're applying those, connecting to a word, whatever, yes, or an I am statement, you know, I am beautiful, I am joy, I am love. And when you're applying those, even in that practice twice a day and feeling the shift of your cells, because those products hold such a high frequency, and our skin is the largest organ in our body, which I think we forget that sometimes. And so all of those cells will be really connecting to that frequency and receiving that intelligence and holding that cellular memory.
Yeah, and then especially the words that you're using when you're applying the products, it's super important. Eventually, you know, after following the skincare routine for a week or so, you're just going to naturally think of that word when you're applying the skincare. So it's just going to almost become second nature, like programming, and your skin will hold that program.
And you may find after you've used a word for a week or two that it feels like it doesn't have quite the wow factor that originally did. And it's because you're holding that frequency.
Yeah.
And so it may be time to elevate it and find a new word to play with, mm-hmm, to shift your frequency to that. So
yeah. And it's something that we can use in every part of our lives, not just on our skin, but in everything that we do and everything that we want to experience financially, health wise, you know, family life or career wise. Like we can play with words this way and climb that frequency ladder a little bit higher each time. So it's super powerful, super powerful practice. And then one more piece that I wanted to mention was the idea that beauty is that beauty, again, that's kind of running through our veins, that's always within us. It never gets stale, stagnant, or dies. You know, there's a piece of renewal because it is creation. Beauty is creation. So even if you look outside and you look at the earth knows how to renew itself. And so, you know, a leaf may shrivel up and die, but it's always going to turn green again. It's going to come back the following spring and bloom into this beautiful, you know, big green flower the following spring. So there's, you know, if we can remind ourselves that we have the ability to do that, just like that leaf on the tree, we can renew ourselves. We can renew ourselves just by connecting with that, you know, divinity, that piece of divinity within us that's always there. It never leaves. It's always there. Going outside and connecting with nature is a very, very great way to activate that. But if we can just connect with that piece and remind ourselves that we can renew just like the leaves and the grass and the lakes and the rivers, then, we can have a different reflection when we look at ourselves, and then we'll experience the world much more differently.
Bring in a new expression
Right.
for everything around us.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to add, Jen, before we close up our conversation for today?
I just want to remind people that, as you're saying, the divine is always within us, and just connecting with that place and playing in that frequency of who you are as a divine being, and shifting your frequency, just really just with intention, with your hands on your heart, and you have everything you need within you.
And letting go of those expectations too, beauty isn't what society might have us believe, would make the cover of a Vogue magazine. That's not true beauty. That's superficial beauty. It's what, our ego wants to call beauty, but that piece of beauty is, it's that part that's always in creation within us, and it's that part that can always renew itself. And Snow White was such a great example of that beauty. She was connected, she radiated it, and she was magnetic because of it. So I really enjoyed this conversation today, Jen. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And if you want to learn more about Eternal Gold Beauty and our high frequency skincare line, feel free to visit www.eternalgoldbeauty.com. We love you so much. Sending you love and blessings. Go out and radiate that beauty into the world, and play with how you speak to yourself. It makes a big difference. Love you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to the Eternal Gold Beauty Show. We are supporting you as you tap into your empowered choice to break the agreement of aging. To take the next step to age in reverse, go to eternalgoldbeauty.com and start your eternal journey today.